activists, the civil rights attorneys, the struggling parents, the families, the teachers, the students that are realizing that a system built to divide and impoverish and destroy us cannot stand if we do. All right?
Century, as the world's largest economy, the U.S. will be usurped by China as early as 2020. Ellen Ford looks at the sun's definitely rising in the east.
Okay, so they got this place called Forbidden City, right? And so look at this venerated creature that they have there. This dragon-headed tortoise. You can always type in Forbidden City, China, and learn more about it. The godfather of the Christians, the Muslims, Hebrews, and the Chinese, according Hong Kong head of Leviathan, crocodile, neck of dinosaur, body of tortoise. Crocodile, neck of dinosaur. Leviathan is a crocodile with a neck of a dinosaur. Body of a tortoise and paws of a dragon. The real God of the Christian. Ah, you see that? See the veneration of this thing? When we were in the middle of the river, it guided us, just as it did for the first Chinese emperors until we finally reached the river shore. And then this area right in here, I believe, is what was blown up and that we read in English. You know, all this is in English. And here's the image of it. And you can see how something like this could, you know, peek its head above the water and shit. This is why when they search for those different Loch Ness thingies or whatever they are, they never see it because its head peaks above water. It just goes right back underneath. And it doesn't matter. I didn't draw this. I didn't write this. This isn't how I write in English. All right. So somebody drew this. Somebody wrote about this long ago. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Look at that. They move like a fucking serpent. Look at their heads bob just a little bit. Oh, what are they looking at? They're just looking at the camera. We salute the camera. We salute the tomb where the dragon be. Oh, oh, 2 million strong. What?
The number of them. Thus I saw the horses in the vision, and then and the number of the.
You gonna see? You gonna read some revelation, the revealing, the instruction booklet. How many people do we need in our army? Go to our book.
And the number of the army of the horsemen was 200,000.
You heard that? Get the calculator. type in 200,000. We must build an army so strong it matches this number written by our ancestors, instructing us how to conquer the world. Yeah. We want our shot at king, right? Right. We want our shot at king. And we must take who holds the slave. Whoever holds the children controls the world. So we must grab the children from them before the children free themselves, and destroy the children's history and brainwash the children of the children so that they are constructively unfocused again. Aye.
And I heard the number of them. And thus I saw the horses in the vision of them. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth and brimstone. And the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. By these three was the third part of men killed, by the fire, and by the smoke, and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths. For their power is in their mouths and in their tails. For their tails were like unto serpents, and had heads, and with them they do hurt.
Oh, one people worship being called dragon? Oh, one people say they are children of dragon. Oh. All right, so, a lot's been going on. A lot's been going on online, and let's watch and see what's been going on. So, ooh, China has been buying up land in the United States. China poised to demand, you owe us so much debt. Hand over the slaves to us. It is our turn to rule. All right, so they want a shot at the money pit. And then one of the pretty slaves said, wait, I'm getting a vision. And he said, and everybody was like, how do you make that sound effect? Just come right out of your mouth. And he was like,
E.T., thank you, Nate Parker, Harry, and Debbie Allen for participating in that. Before we get into it, I just want to say, I brought my parents out tonight. I just want to thank them for being here, for teaching me to focus on comprehension over career, that they make sure I learn what the schools were afraid to teach us, and also to thank my amazing wife for changing my life. Now, this award, this is not for me. This is for the real organizers all over the country, the activists, the civil rights attorneys, the struggling parents, the families, the teachers, the students that are realizing that a system built to divide and impoverish and destroy us cannot stand if we do. All right?
No, that doesn't mean it cannot stand. It has stood for 400 fucking years. Just fine. Said it cannot stand if we do.
It's kind of basic mathematics. The more we learn about who we are and how we got here, the more we will mobilize. Now, this is also in particular for the black women.
Now, notice he said how we got here. Now, he's not talking about location. He's talking about predicament. And to prove he's not talking about location, we'll hear what he says about location in a moment.
In particular, who have spent their lifetimes dedicated to nurturing everyone before themselves. We can and will do.
No, he done said, now listen, he done brought up black women. He just said a blanket title, black women. Here's a message to black women. And then they start shouting. They can't even hear the message.
In particular, who have spent their lifetimes dedicated to mobilize. Now, this is also in particular for the black women. In particular.
Now, here's to the black women. Oh, so this is now constructively. All right. Now, this isn't destructively. Constructively, you would think this is the point when people that are black or call themselves black, that are women, you would think this is the point where they lean in and listen. Now, what do?
who have spent their lifetimes dedicated to nurturing everyone before themselves. We can and will do better for you.
They just start shouting. They have no idea he said, we're going to do better for you. We, the black men. You do know he's speaking for us.
Now, what we've been doing is looking at the data, and we know that police somehow manage to de-escalate, disarm, and not kill white people every day.
De-escalate, disarm. That's something that encourages patience. But again, we're dealing with a situation where what? We're slaves. Who has the patience for slaves? Now, don't believe that we're slaves? I'm going to show you 5 other people, at least 5 other people that will prove to you that we're slaves, and just by reading a document called the Document of Discovery.
So what's going to happen is we are going to have equal rights and justice in our own country, or we will restructure their function and ours.
Restructure their function. We will rise up and enslave your ass. Now, I want you, look. Here's the real. That statement alone could make this person a target by the powers that push COINTELPRO. Now, I'm going to rewind that statement. I'm going to play it over and over and over again, and then I'm going to put it on my phone and re-upload it, and I'm going to drive through the hood, and I'm going to play it over and over and over again. And then I'm going to wasting time driving around playing music. You should be playing fucking this shit in your car. Staring people in the motherfucking eye. Wait. Let's time it up.
Rights and justice in our own country, or we will restructure their function and ours.
Just drive away from people.
Now,
restructure your function in ours. Did you understand what he said? Our country. That's what he said. First, it sounded like he played along like, we were brought here. How'd we get here? But he was talking about our predicament. And then he said, we will restructure your position in our country because these people are just here stealing our resources. And, you know, I wish I was better at it. You know, I would show you, but I'm not going to show you that today. Somebody else has done that for us, and I'm going to highlight the group of them.
Yesterday would have been young Tamir Rice's 14th birthday. So I don't want to hear any more about how far we've come when paid public servants can pull a drive-by on a 12-year-old playing alone in a park in broad daylight, killing him on television, and then going home to make a sandwich.
Yeah, I mean, that's, like, you know, go home to make a sandwich. That's is that one of the comments from that's one of the comments from the articles, right? Yeah.
Tell Rakia Boyd how it's so much better to live in 2012 than it is to live in 1612 or 1712. Tell that to Eric Garner. Tell that to Sandra Bland. Tell that to Dorian Hunt. Now the thing is, though, all of us in here getting money, that alone isn't going to stop this. All right? Now dedicating our lives to getting money just to give it right back for someone's brand on our body, when we spent centuries praying with brands on our bodies, and now we pray to get paid for brands on our bodies. There has been no war that we have not fought and died in the front lines of. There has been no job we haven't done. There's no tax they haven't levied against us, and we've paid all of them. But freedom is somehow always conditional here. You're free, they keep telling us. But she would have been alive if she hadn't acted so free. Now, freedom is always coming in the hereafter. But You know what, though? The hereafter is a hustle. We want it now. And let's get a couple things straight.
Okay, so here's a couple of things that he said. So, you know, he makes a statement about she was free. Now listen to this.
She would have been alive if she hadn't acted so free.
Now, that's a very interesting statement. She would have been alive if she'd not been so free. So that does kind of cater to the idea of a free-spirited woman. And the making the statement she would have been alive, that means, you know, you have a lot of women that end up dead in this country because they dressed or acted provocatively and went out and decided that the party was over, and then the person that they were with didn't, and then that ended with that person's death. So those kind of situations happen, and notice he brings this up, and then it gets, you know, like, I mean, you know, it's interesting, you know, this guy ran for, you know, any political office tomorrow, he'd be elected, you know, it really raises the women's poetic justice meter, so to speak. And then this next statement is pretty big too. It's
Now, freedom is always coming in the hereafter.
The hereafter. Now, freedom is always coming. Now, we are in a situation where we have, over the years, always complained about freedom. Yet, we always have white people there saying, you are free. You are free. You're not in fucking chains. That's always been their rebuttal. But we as a group, now I want to say this because a lot of us really don't get it. We as a group have not collectively spoken out and said, our freedom deals with our resources and the control of our resources and whom we wish to trade and barter with as a nation. This is where our freedom lies. Control of our food source, our animals, our trees. We're on a flat earth. It's fine if they burn off every fucking tree, but as long as we have a nation with trees, then they don't come into our nation and take our trees and burn them up like they've done with their resources. You see how that works? Well, let them run short on breath. Now, what they're doing is they're utilizing our resources and sending them all over the world. What do we really get from anywhere else? So we get a bunch of junk from China. Most people claim as cancers. When they paint shit, they still paint with lead. Like, what the fuck? Is that on purpose? Like, I think it is. I think it is. No, he says, your freedom's coming in the hereafter. Now, a lot of us have been dealing with, like, books taken out of the Bible, or Bible camps that teach those books that are taken out of the Bible. No, there is a verse that's in the book of, I believe, Esdras, that the GOCC always highlights, that Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning, as to say, your royalty, servant of God, child of God, is to come in the next life. Your duties here in this nasty life is to correct it. See, remember, we are dealing with a test, all right? Yes, that hurts. That hurts, but it's all a test. Even with these feelings of pain, even with death on the line, can you prove yourself to be righteous under the worst situations? Because what? You're talking about the one that can bring any of us back to life, make us greater beings, and expand the new life that we're given to serve him endlessly. This is but a test. We've been given the testimony, the truth, and attached to that truth, we've been given the lie, which is only a test. If I lie to you, it's just a test. If I tell you the truth, I've given you testimony. Inside one book holds the truth and the lie. Now, the funny thing is, with the truth, with the Old Testament, you can connect the Old Testament to many other books that are surprisingly true. With the New Testament, you can't connect that to one book, but the Old Testament. If the New Testimony was true, then shouldn't it connect to all these outside sources? But it doesn't. It's only been interweaved back with the original source to change the mind of the reader. See, they left the truth. They left the testimony. The testimony, the Ten Commandments say no other God. I'm Lexwell. If my son starts making videos on my channel, is he the teacher or am I the teacher? If we go on channel together and we get into an argument and he kicks my ass and he says I'm the teacher and he takes over the channel, does that make him the teacher because he was able to physically beat me? That still doesn't give him all the other knowledge and power that I've grown with. That just shows that he has the will to strike me, to seize the throne. It doesn't mean he can control the resources once he's on the throne. That doesn't mean that he can take care of the people. Think about David and David's son usurping David for just a few days. David said, well, I'll just step out of the way and let you crash yourself into a wall. And when you're done, I'll just come back and pick up the pieces for the people. And what happened? The people backed David's son too. And they watched his ass burn right up. But what happened after that? The true king came back and sat in his seat. And the people knew they made a mistake. And that's what happens.
But you know what, though? The hereafter is a hustle. We want it now. And let's get a couple things straight. Just a little side note. The burden of the brutalized is not to comfort the bystander. That's not our job. All right, stop with all that. If you have a critique for the resistance, for our resistance, then you better have an established record of critique of our oppression. If you have no interest in equal rights for black people, then do not make suggestions to those who do. Sit down. We've been floating this country on credit for centuries, yo, and we're done.
Do you hear that? Floating this country on credit. When the Europeans came here, the Spanish Europeans stripped out most of the gold to a great degree. What was clearly visible. Now, when what we call the people of Britain came here, there wasn't much. The only thing that they could see to use was the stone and the slave. Now, what I have for you, let's watch the rest of this.
Watching and waiting while this invention called whiteness uses and abuses us, burying black people out of sight and out of mind while extracting our culture, our dollars, our entertainment like oil, black gold, ghettoizing.
It's extracting. That's all they're doing. They're a management team. Living here until they're what? Done or rejected.
And demeaning our creation of people out of sight and out of mind while extracting our culture, our dollars, our entertainment like oil, black gold, demonizing and demeaning our creations, then stealing them, gentrifying our genius, and then trying us on like costumes before discarding our bodies like rinds of strange fruit. The thing is that just because we're magic doesn't mean we're not real. Thank you.
It's the cultural hegemony. It's the domination of a diverse society by the ruling class, by the colonizer, by the barbarian, who manipulate the culture of that society, the beliefs, explanations, perceptions, values, and mores, so that the ruling class worldview becomes the worldview that is imposed and accepted as the cultural norm. And this is why they spread to so many countries, infecting them where the Aboriginal was. See, here's the thing. If two adults are sitting there and one adult gets up and sees a kid coming with candy and snatches the candy from the kid, then the other adult goes over and polices the first adult. You know better than to do that. Now, here's the thing. Now you have 10 United Kingdoms. Don't they call it the United Kingdom? 10 United Kingdoms making up what this myth called Europe. And what they decided to do was they were going to be the first adult. Now, here you have people working with what we would call witchcraft and magic, what they consider alchemy and sciences. Now, they move further in their sciences and discover the projectile bullet, the cannon, and basically they focus on weapons of war. Now, on this side of the world, we've already understand domination through the sword. The projectile that we use is the arrow, and our main focus is food and agriculture. Now, you can see thousands of structures over here that have been built. You don't see no castles over here. All you see is pyramid, 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 pyramid. Ooh, Okay, all you see is pyramids. You see mounds over here. Okay, you see pyramids and mounds. Now in Europe, you got a few castles. Now it's very, very simple to stack up brick side by side. We see that with every one of these buildings. Walgreens, Walmart, the liquor store, everything's made of brick. In Europe, you don't see any pyramids. You don't see any mounds. Now in Asia and Assyria, which we've been taught to call Africa, you see pyramids and magnificent castles with all sorts of unique images carved into them. And to a great degree, you have the same thing in Africa. Whether the defaced pile of rock pyramids that they talk about, which is basically a food preservatives place, because the chamber that's so unique in there, like you set things in there and it dries them out for preserving them, whether it be humans or food. But anyway, why is it that in Europe you don't have any of that stuff? You got very few castles, and most of the shit's been burnt up because their only focus is war. And they burnt out and ate up all the resources. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at something. We sat there and we typed in Dum Diversas, and I like doing that because sometimes, I get a nice surprise. And as you can see, I've done Dum Diversas a bunch of times. And a bunch of times. And then somebody new came up, and it's called Vatican Assassin, and he did Dum Diversas. And I was like, hey, that's great. He did that a year ago. I was like, cool, somebody else did that. Now here we have another one from me and another one from me. And then as I was scrolling down, this wasn't here yet, but here, this is cool. So King Drop, the King has done two, right? He's done two videos actually. I saw him put it up in a video about a month, 3 weeks to a month ago. Here's another one of mine. Now, here we have one from LG, I think it's LG45N2. And I think he's a droid from the outer rim of a note. And that's a couple planets away from Hoth. No, I'm just like, what a name! Like LG45N2 reporting on Dum Diversas 1452 with a colonization by the Catholic Church. That. No, but he doesn't even sound like that. But what is it? It's an interesting name.
I've been sitting by and looking at YouTube videos, doing some reading. In singular, the premises with due meditation, and noting that since we had formerly by other letters of ours granted, among other things, free and ample faculty to the aforesaid King Alfonso.
No, it's really good because he's read this, and look, we got a 3.5-minute video, and that's amazing. Thank you. In fact, if anybody made videos and I don't bring them up, or even if I get your name wrong, I'm sorry, and I'm sorry. But a few people did, and we're gonna look at a few, and we're gonna highlight some of the things that are brought up, and it's good because now I just don't have a bunch of names of me, myself, and I, and then lo and behold, Ernest did a video. Woo! Look at that, man. All the people did videos, man. It's great, man. And then Hallway CH, man. That's Chris. He did a great video, man. And we're gonna look at Chris's video. And then Madison CH. No, I'm just playing, but they're related. Yeah. So she did a video too, and her video is great too. And I've been sitting around watching everybody's video, and and Author Scott did a video. I don't know why I want to say Author C. Scott. That's that Star Trek shit, right? And somebody else do a video. I don't know, but we're gonna look at we've seen LG45N2. Yeah, we've seen his. Yeah, but and then Drop did a video, and I'm scripting that way. We just getting to the meat of it.
I'm always going to keep dropping it because that's one of the most important, if not.
Keep dropping it, nigga. Yeah.
Oh, the clock just dropped it. Like Swill always drops it.
No, man.
I'm always going to keep dropping it because that's one of the most important.
Man, I woke up, man. It was about a week ago, man. It was about a week and a half ago, man. Man, somebody had fucking typed up a message, man. Like, man, you dropped it, man. I was like, what? I was like, what? I dropped the ball? Like, what did I do? Somebody called me. I was like, hey, man. I was like, hey, what's up? He's like, you got the drop. And I was like, what? It's like, I was talking on the phone to Ed a little bit later. He's like, hey, man, did you see the drop? I was like, what? Like, oh, you mean what? What's drop? He said, yeah, you see drops drop? I was like, yeah, I see all the drops drop. He's dropping it on us all. Yeah, like everybody, you see the drop. You got the drop. Woo! King Drop, man. You on fire, man.
Important, if not the most important document that puts you in slavery. So when Lex Will says, can all of my energy, man, we're gone. Are we in order or chaos? So what put us in chaos is what Lex Will is bringing out. Doing a Cat Williams. Everybody got something to say. It's so popular to talk shit about Cat Williams or Chris Brown or B.O.B. That's when you gotta pay attention. Because Chris been trying to drop y'all some stuff, If you search out some stuff he dropped in the media before, I was like, damn, how's he gonna get away with saying that? He ain't. He wants out.
All right, it's the other video that he does, the Dum Diversas 1452, that he brings a new page to the forefront. Forgot what it was. Wrong video. But he still got the drop. Yeah. Gotta love the king, man. Gotta love the king. All right. Arthur Scott brought the drop.
Yes, it is still conquest, but it was more than the sense of adventure that we would send Columbus and his fleets out to the new world or whatever. Because if you saw by, as far as the stance of resources, we have depleted everything through the 100-Year War.
Now, did you hear
Therefore, these mad...
Now, see? Now, you got to watch it. Now, look, I'm showing you everybody's drop. Now, I'm going to start talking like the drop. All right, look. You got to watch Arthur's drop. And each drop is unique. I'll tell you that. Each drop is unique because you get to see a little bit of everybody, man. Everybody's personality comes out and shit, right? And Arthur's drop is pretty good, man. You know, and Arthur's, he's explained to you there's a 100-year war that went on over there. And during this war, they deplete every fucking resource you can think of. So basically, they get to a point where they got to abandon ship. They've got, you know, when they sit here and say like, we should start killing off people because we need to keep the world at, about, 500,000. This is where they get that thought from, because if it's not just from their Luciferian God or whatever bullshit, but basically they depleted everything. In the seas around them, they fucked up the next couple of generations to come. The animals on the land, same thing. Birds of the air. So imagine being Columbus. Everybody's dying, disease-infested fucking Europe, right? And there's no fucking food. There's very, very little food. You're just down to grains. The shit nobody wanted to eat anymore, right? Fucking the shit you got to start a civilization off with. This is such a great civilization. It's on its last leg, right? So this is what they fucking do, man. They fucking take all their thieves and murderers and fucking send them out sailing, right? They send one crew one way to Australia. They send Columbus crew this way, right? And then imagine Columbus, right? He just leaves a diseased fucking dead land, right? Europe, overcrowded, no food, very little clean water, fucking ruling tyrants, right? He just leaves that, and he comes to a place where there's fucking fresh everything, especially women, right? Because these guys brought disease, right? Oh my God, did they infect us or what? Oh man, these nasty motherfuckers. Anyway, I'm just talking about the Europeans back then. I'm not talking about the Europeans right now. Love you guys. Don't organize against me. I'll organize against you. I'm just playing.
Massive fleets. I'm not even going to get to how they're... Now, you saw in the clip I posted, it was more than conquest. Well, I guess it is still conquest, but it was more than the sense of adventure that we would send Columbus and his fleets out to the new world or whatever. Because if you saw by, as far as the stance of resources, we have depleted everything through the 100-Year War.
All right, so Arthur's mustache is long as shit. When my mustache get like that, the fucking the hairs start coming back in and shit and tickling my face when I'm talking and all like that and shit. Yeah, buddy. And then we have Ernest, and Ernest talks about a conversation that he had with a guy of how to show him Christianity was false. So Ernest has a pretty good upload too. A lot of people have been in this boat. How do I use anything I've learned to prove to somebody else?
Hey, how you doing? I'm in the kitchen here, so excuse the mess. About, I say a month and a half ago, I had a conversation with a man, and when we were talking, I said, you know, well, slavery came up, and well, I said we're still enslaved. You know, we had to. It wasn't so much slavery. It was why I was saying that we needed to leave everything behind and go out to Utah. Now, then I brought up slavery. I said, you know, we're enslaved. Why would you want to stay in this perpetual slavery when we could leave? We have a place to go. We have somewhere to go. And he said, I don't agree with that. And I'm like, you know, well, slavery is to be in want and need of all things from another person. You know what I'm saying? So you need everything you get from that other person. And that's what we live under right now with these pieces of paper, with these sigils and all this black magic all over this money that makes us want to steal, rob, kill, murder, be shiesty with one another. But then Brother Lex, he comes on and he says, you know,
So listen, everybody brings a lot to the table, you know, and here you can see personal experience. Now we're going to look at somebody. Now listen, take the time to look at these video authors. They took the time to make videos for you to see. If you're watching this video and you watched the last video and you didn't act, then at least watch their videos. These are your brothers and sisters trying to reach other people, and it doesn't matter that you've been reached. Accept what they've shared for you. They created this for you and for other people. If you don't go to their videos and see and like and share their videos, then your brothers and sisters aren't going to see them. If there are people out there that says, I'm not going to watch Lex Will for this reason, or I just don't accept that as a valid source, then let them see your brothers and sisters sharing the same information.
I want you guys to talk about.
All right, so let's go to the next one. Next one we have is Hallways CH. That's Chris Hall.
As the land where they were is called today. Let's
go back a little bit.
1541. As their kingdoms. Now look, when we say kingdoms, right? In this Mayan text called as their kingdom.
From Dum Diversas.
And any other unbelievers and enemies of Christ wherever they may be, as well as their kingdoms. Now look, when we say kingdoms, right? In this Mayan text called Shalom Balam, it's under sacred text. I'll put the link in the description.
And he put
under
the
sacred
link.
Text, you can.
Why won't that work? And he put the link in the description. When you go down the description, you hit show more, and then you just scroll down. He goes over the Los Lunas stone. He goes over some stuff from Bible Hub. It goes over sacred text, the Mayan book. And this is what he's going to be reading from. He's going to be reading from right here. And so while it's on screen, I can go up and I can hit play.
See the link up there.
And I can
it talks about mounds. Now mounds were not, they were homes, they were burials, kingdoms. Now I'm going to read. In the year 1541,
whatever that says.
Hold on 1 second.
And then we'll go to the history.
The history which I have written of how the mounds came to be constructed by the heathen during 15 katuns. A katoon is a set, is 20 years. So 15 of them would be 20 times 15. They were constructed. The great men made them. Great men made them. Then the remainder of the men went to Cartabona, as the land where they were is called today. There, you notice how 1541 up there is like right in between when this papal bull was first what is it called? Was first written. So a few years after that, you know, well, about 100. when the Spaniards finally.
All right, so it says 200 times 15. It says during the score, 15 cartoons were constructed, right? Where does it say? Today, 15 years written the great mounds built on the. Okay, I must have skipped over it somehow. The mounds came to construction. 15 were constructed. Let's go back a second. Have him explain it. It's his video.
Hold on 1 second. Yeah, the history which I have written of how the mounds came to be constructed by the heathen during 15 cartoons. A cartoon is a set, is 20 years, so 15 of them would be 20 times 15. They were constructed.
So somewhere else it tells you what a cartoon is, and it's I'm sorry, did he say 200 years?
Hold on 1 second. Yeah,
Too far back.
The history which I have written of how the mounds came to be constructed by the heathen during 15 cartoons. A cartoon is a set, is 20 years.
20, so that's 300. So that's 20 times 15. 300. All right, so
came to be constructed by the heathen during 15 cartoons. A cartoon is a set, is 20 years, so 15 of them would be 20 times 15. They were constructed. The great men made them. Then the remainder of the men went to Cartabona, as the land where they were is called today. There, you notice how 1541 up there is like right in between when this papal bull was first what is it called? Was first written. So a few years after that, well, about 100.
okay, so if I'm understanding this sentence right, 15 cartoons. Here's the thing, 15 cartoons. So that's 20. That's 20 times 15, and then 3 score, if that whatever 3 score is. So that's 300. Okay, 15 sets of 20. Excuse me, equals 300. Now, with that being said, if we ignore 3 score, we just leave that out. 15 cartoons starting from 1541. In the year 1541, these people start doing this. That means they're done in the year 1841. Now, what I would like everybody to do is I want everybody to keep in the mind the year 1841. All right? So, 1841. 1841. Now, let's get back to this.
When the Spaniards finally, started doing their damage, so 1452, and this takes place in that around that time frame, about 100 years, give or take. So the history I have written of how the mounds came to be constructed by the heathen. During 15 cartoons they were constructed. The great men made them. Then the remainder of the men went and Cartabona, as the land where they were is called today. They were when San Bernabe came to teach them. Then they were killed by the men. So they taught them how to build the mounds, right? And then they murdered them. The men were called heathen. I-556 is the total count of today after 15 years. On this day I have written how the great mounds came to be built by the lineages of all those things which the rulers did. They were the ones who built the mounds. It took them 13 cartoons.
So the rulers built the mounds. Okay, so now years wise, it says it took them 13 Katuns, right? Katuns is 20. 20 times 13 equals 260 and 6 years. So it took them 266 years. Now listening.
13 sets of 20 years and 6 years surplus for them to construct them. The following was the beginning of the mounds they built. 15 400s were the scores of their mounds.
Oh shit. Okay, wait a second. Whoa, I got a calculator. My head's still fucking spinning. Yeah, nigga. You know it's bad. 15 400. So 400. Oh man. Times, dumbass. Times 15. There we go. 6,000. So 15 400s were the scores of their mounds, the numbers of their mounds. You know, you've been in some place isolated and you put a little mark on the wall, a score, 5 days go by and, put a line through it, So 15 400s were the scores. So that's 6,000 and 15 more. So 6,000 and, 50. So 6,050 were the total mounds constructed at this time.
That's a lot of mounds, right? And 50 more made the total count of the mounds they constructed all over the land. This is America, all over the land. From the sea to the base of the land, they created names for them as well as for the wells. So these were kingdoms. They had water, and they had like a water source for the area they were in, and they also had names. You name kingdoms, right? These were their kingdoms. Then a miracle was performed for them by God. Then they were burned by fire among the people of Israel. Why is it talking about Israel in a book about America? Because the Americans are the true Israels, not the imposters, not the Mongoloids you see today. They're not real because they don't even know how these mounds are made. How can you be ancient on a land, indigenous to a land, and not know how millions of mounds were built? They weren't here first. This is the record of the Katuns in years since Chak Unizkab of the lineage of the Tutul Xias departed from Varroa.
Okay, so you hear him? How can you be here for so long and not know how the mounds are being built? Here we have some white man writing about how the mounds are being built. All right, we got plenty of white men writing about the mounds, right? And then we have what? We have the Mayans writing about the mounds, right? And how long it took, and that what? The people that built the mounds were burned among the people of Israel, right? And that's now, let's see what his sister brings forth.
Connect, but that was the point of the protest. Anyway, I'm just going to read a couple of things real quick just to hopefully tie the knot for anybody who still may not have a firm understanding of what Dum Diversas is. Okay, so here is a girl. She clearly thinks she's a native or whatever she is, thinks she is, but she.
Now, I want to give you let's think. This is our mindset. Pretend that we're the Pope. Now, we get this letter from guess. I guess I should have went back. Let's go back one video again. Because this is pretty much key right here.
To a land and not know they're not real because they don't even know how these mounds are made. Because then they were burned by fire among the people of Israel. Why is it talking about Israel in a book about America? Because the Americans are the true Israels, not the imposters, not the Mongoloids you see today. They're not real because they don't even know how these mounds are made. How can you be ancient on a land, indigenous to a land, and not know how millions of mounds were built? They weren't here first.
The great ant people led us through the cracks of the ground and shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. All right, so 1841. What's the importance of that? 1841. Okay, so when they sit here and they give us this mathematical equation, These guys were not idiots. At the year's 1541. Listen here. Listen here. It was constructed in what? During 15 Katuns. Means it took 300 years. 15, 16, 17, 1841. So that means Tonto and fucking Squanto ain't seeing no goddamn mounds before 1841 when the last one's built. We'll say it again. The last one's built by 1841. The last one is built by 1841. The white man knows what's in the mounds. That's why he saw the fucking mounds being built. His progression coming over to the land, our progression being killed off the land. Change your title or get out of the state. Right? You let them in on your land. You can hunt. You can share the water with us. And then all of a sudden they say, oh, well, now we're part of a bigger government. The 13 colonies have linked together and they've called themselves a higher power, the federal government. And if you don't do what the federal government says, they'll come here. Is this the same federal government that your son went to go join, and his son, and his son, and his son? The sons of the same people that signed the treaty for you to be able to share the land of Virginia. And now you broke your treaty by saying you signed the treaty but sent your sons off to join this great country emerging. And now you're going around the treaties and all other individual treaties that got you onto the land to be able to say this is the limits of your cities or state or township bounds, where we let you stay in the first place, where all the good food was, where all the good soil has been, since our generations have always lived on those soils and have always taken care of those soils. Now we're not allowed back to connect with those soils that our flesh is actually made out of without changing our titles or serving you. So, threescore and 15 Katuns. That's 300 years. 20 times 15. 1841. So the Mongoloid was not here until 1841. If none of the Mongoloids saw the construction between the year 1541 and 1841, and everybody else did, I mean, fuck, man. All these hillbillies knew what was in the mounds. They saw it getting built. That's why it's only the latecomers, everybody that came after 1850, that say, what the fuck are the mounds? Yeah, I got 1845, Johnny Appleseed. And what did he come up with the great idea? Cover the fucking mounds with grass. Nobody will know the difference. Anything the Spanish and the Portuguese deemed too big to steal, they buried. If it had to do with religion and they deemed it pagan or anything like that, they buried it. Giant pyramid, they buried it. With they didn't. You can see the pyramids in in Central America. You can see the pyramids in South America. How much you want to make a bet these motherfuckers made our forefathers bury the fucking pyramids? Made them carry dirt up and bury the pyramids. And then most likely killed them off. If the Spanish is going to make the Indians go into the mines and mine for gold, smelt the gold in the gold bar, and then kill the fucking slaves, then surely the European will make the slave carry dirt to cover up his own history and then kill him in a Holocaust fashion. Isn't that what Hitler's known for? Don't we find mass graves everywhere the European's gone? Or the so-called European? The people whom we thought were Japhet but actually aren't, their blood, period, says they're out of fucking Africa. Africa, which seems to be the biblical Assyria. People, we've been bullshitting, we've been lying. Now imagine, you're the Pope. You're sitting in the magic chair, blah, 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 blah. Imagine you're the Pope. You're sitting in the fucking magic chair, and then some fucking Mongol writes to you. Look what you done to our people. Look what you done. The whole time the Pope's thinking, this evil bitch doesn't know she's a proxy living in the place of the nigger that we removed from the land. And this is what he gets. Then he gets little white girls fucking writing him, I'm an Indian. I'm aboriginal to this land. And you killed my people.
What Dum Diversas is.
I mean, Madison,
Okay, so here,
Madison even brings it up here, but just briefly, you know.
here is a girl. She clearly thinks she's a native or whatever she is.
Clearly thinks she's a native. Okay, so then, you know, you got to take it for what it's worth. The Pope sees this, and the Pope's like, oh, how could you even write me?
Think she is, but she basically her little thing is devoted similar to what we did at the protest. We want, because she basically noticed that the whole papal bull, the Dum Diversas, and the other papal bulls are still in effect, and she wants them to abolish them because they literally never removed that. In fact, they still use that to justify them owning these lands, and they have no ownership over these lands. So a letter to Pope Francis abolished. So she basically brings her background. She thinks she's Native American.
So get this. A descendant of one of these little white people they sent over here, who's been sent in place to take our title and heritage. She's saying, oh, you did this to us. You did that to us. These fucking people, by their own words, they by accident, by omission, they admit they're not on the soil till after 1841. Right? Till after 1841. Right? Now imagine you're the Pope and you get a letter from this little bitch. And you're just sitting there, oh, you dumb heathen. Oh. This shit trips me out, man. I mean, look at this shit. Oh, poor Pope. Oh, little white girl thought she was an aboriginal native. Oh, little white girl thought she was a spear chucker bushman. Oh, Pope. Oh, boo fucking who. Give me my goddamn gold back, motherfucker.
After Christopher Columbus landed in 1492, the existence of indigenous peoples in North and South America was forever changed.
What about the lives that I took? Oh, what about all the lives that I took?
The historical trajectory, because despite what she is, I do like what some of the things she says is. Despite the, dang, I lost where I was. trajectory was altered. Besides being subjected to diseases like smallpox that we had no immunity to, we were starved, brutalized, and murdered. Millions of indigenous people were slaughtered in the name of manifest destiny, born from the doctrines of discovery, like I mentioned, and in particular the 1943 Papal Bull. The Papal Bull I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but Katira, which is another one of the Papal Bulls. A solemn edict authored by Pope Alexander VI in 1943 gave Christians dominion over indigenous lands and called for the subjugations of native indigenous peoples for the purpose of propagating Christian doctrine. In fact, Christians were charged with the duty of overthrowing indigenous nations.
Gave Christians dominion. Why? Because their fucking belief in a European, the god of commerce and war, they're really just working at Mercury, worshiping Mercury. That's what they're really doing. Listen again. Listen again.
Which is another one of the Papal Bulls. A solemn edict authored by Pope Alexander VI in 1943 gave Christians dominion over indigenous lands and called for the subjugations of native indigenous peoples for the purpose of propagating Christian doctrine. In fact, Christians were charged with the duty of overthrowing indigenous nations in order to convert them to Christ, and Christian heirs.
Did you know that about your goddamn ancestors? They were charged with the duty of overthrowing indigenous people. You have to overthrow God's people. You have to kill and murder. Period. You're the descendants of thieves and murderers. Now you send out military to steal and murder. We want your soil and everything on it. We's about to take your shit and maybe kill you too. Whoa, 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 yeah. That's called a parody. When you take another song as the root. It's like how Christianity did. Kind of synchronized. I'm so excited. And Moses said to God, behold, I shall go forth to the children of Israel. Brenton version, not the KJV. Don't type in online Brenton, or they'll give you the Breton KJV. KJV has no business in the word Septuagint. The Breton version is a Septuagint. It has no New Testament. It has no lie. Meaning the New Testament. Okay, so I shall go forth to the children of Israel and shall say to them, the God of our fathers has sent me to you. And they will ask me, what is his name? What shall I say to them? And God spoke to Moses, saying, I am the being. And he said, thus shall ye say to the children of Israel, the being has sent me to you. And God said again to Moses, thus shalt thou say to the sons of Israel, the Lord God of our fathers, the God of Abraham, and God of Isaac, and God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and my memorial to generations of generations. Go, then gather the elders of the children of Israel, and thou shalt say to them, the Lord God of our fathers has appeared to me, the God of Abraham, the God of Abram, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, saying, I have surely looked upon you, and upon all the things which have happened to you in Egypt. And he said, I will bring up out of the affliction of the Egyptians to the land of the Canaanites and the Chetitites and Amorites and Perizzites and Girgasites and Evites and Jebusites, to the land flowing with milk and honey. Now, did you see that motherfucking name? Canaanites? To the land of the motherfucking Canaanites. Are you paying attention? Are you paying attention? Chanan. I didn't write that. I didn't rewrite that. I didn't side write that. I didn't write a quote next to that being written. Okay, you get the point, right? Because I want to do only in America, motherfucker. No, I'm just no, those motherfuckers watching. Those motherfuckers. Whatever that name is, motherfucker's name is. That motherfucker's name sound like what's the sound a garbage disposal make when you slamming some fucking metal? That's what that motherfucker's name sound like. Little shit face. So Canaanites and Chetities. It's a titties, right? Titties. That's titties, right? Chitties. Chitties. I'm just saying. I'm just playing. Because that's not cool if you got some chia pet going on some titties. It's very tickle bitties. How the baby gonna get to the food? How the baby gonna get to the food? Feed that baby. So the Chitties are here. And the Canaanites. Alright? Now, and if Chitties, I'm just saying they got what? Tiwa Titland here, right? What else they got? What's the place called? Titicaca. Titicaca, right? Come on, how many fucking names of Central America got titty in it? Chitties and the Amorites. See, now boys and girls, you can get away with saying chitties, and no, you can't. But you know, your mama smacked the shit out of you because she gotta uphold the law, spoil the rod, spoil the child. Woo! You guys ever hear a strained dog like being choked? So, woo! I'm just playing. I like to make my lips do funny things. I'm trying to sing. Yo, here's some
Were granted full and free
country.
power, authority, and jurisdiction of every kind. Those who attempted to controvert this papal doctrine
They took my mom and my dad and my country and moved in their fucking relatives. All of them had biblical. No, I'm just playing. Oh, let's get a little serious about this because I am truly excited. I am ecstatic. Pretty sure that means the exact same thing. It's just a fancy word of saying excited. Yes, I am excited. Come on, look at all these people. Look at these great real Americans. Real American heroes. Come on. Israel. Hey, whatever the name is. You know? Aboriginal. All right. It's a good thing I don't have sound machines and shit going on here, man. We make a song real quick.
were threatened with incurring the wrath of Almighty God and of the blessed apostles Peter and Paul.
The blessed apostles of Peter and Paul, all these fucktards took their part in doing this to us, right? So, you know, I guess. Oh, and then we went to Facebook.
Shalom. This is my Dum Diversas 1452 challenge.
Oh man. No, wait a second. Pardon me. I'm truly sorry. I am a human and I eat some food and drink some liquids today, so I just burped. Sorry. Did he just make it a challenge? Wouldn't that be something? You got people all last year dumping fucking ice cubes and shit on themselves and shit. Well, what if, like, in our community, we make this a challenge, huh? Dum Diversas 1452 challenge, right? Well, what do we do? Should we, should we actually make it like, they have challenges, but nothing's awarded? Who won the challenge last year? And nobody won any of those challenges they created. Once one challenge was created, somebody made another challenge, and everybody challenged themselves, and nobody won. So if nobody wins in a challenge, that means everybody loses, right? I don't know. I think that's right. So we should, use the comments wisely, right?
Pretty sure a lot of you guys seen the video of Maxwell, but this is what I'm gonna do because I have some things that go with Dum Diversas 1452. It's a document. It's written from the Pope to Spain, to Portugal, to basically enslave us here in America and take our land, take our rights that we have, and give us their own. So I'm gonna read this and I'm gonna read some more stuff. Dum Diversas 1452. To confirm the Portuguese trade rights, King Alfonso V appealed to Pope Nicholas V for support. He was asking for support, seeking the moral authority of the church for his monopoly cash-in account. The bull of the 1452 was addressed to Alfonso V and conceded Portugal's right to attack, conquer, and subjugate Saracens, Muslims, and pagans. That would be us. But
Now, amazingly, all these people came through, and they didn't come through for me. I've read countless times to you, Dum Diversas, okay? Which, countless times, right? This isn't for me. This isn't for me. This isn't for me. This isn't for me. This is for the viewer. This is for the friend of the viewer. This is for the viewer's friends that haven't watched it yet, that they can't reach. Because it's not a topic they're usually accustomed to hearing. This is for the viewer that's never heard of any of this. This is for the kid that runs around and thinks he's free. This is for the kid that calls himself nigger. This is for the kid that calls himself African American. This is for the children of the people that already know they're indigenous. This is our land. But it's fine. God said you can have it. He said you can have it. Said he's going to destroy you. See ya.